Namaste, Hamesha Khush Raho Betiya. My name is JVN Manisha Singh. Today I am teaching you provision for industrial legislation in India. Subject name is Dairy Plant Management. Discipline is Food and Biotechnology. Now let's start the topic. First of all, introduction. Some of the most important industrial laws are as follows. Industrial laws help to put an end to unfair labor practices and provides for the rights, privileges, obligations and responsibilities of the workforce. Industrial legislation helps both workers and management to know exactly about their rights, duties and obligations and also the liabilities. The objective of industrial laws are to safeguard the workers against exploitation, to maintain good relationship between employees and employers, to provide and improve the welfare, amenities of workers, and to settle industrial disputes. First of all, Factories Act 1948. The main objective of the Factories Act is to improve the working conditions of the workers by implementing the provisions of industrial safety. Factory means any premises wherein 10 or more workers are working and in any part of which manufacturing process is carried out with the aid of power, or wherein 20 or more workers are working and in part of which a manufacturing process is being carried out without the aid of power. This act covers the health, welfare, safety, working hours, annual leaves with wages and employment of women and children. Periodically, the Chief Inspector of Factories and his staff have to approve safety measures in the plant, including proper ventilation for fumes and gases and protective equipments for eyes and ears wherever necessary. A maximum workday of 8 hours is prescribed for adults and 5 hours for children. A work week of 48 hours is also prescribed. A weekly holiday is also specified, as also the eligibility for annual leave with pay after 240 days of employment. The Act also gives the measures to be adopted to safeguard the health of the workers so that the condition at the workplace do not affect them adversely. The Act also deals with cleanliness, waste disposal, pollution measures, lighting, drinking water facilities, latrines, etc., and also refers to the general welfare measures like washing, drying facilities, restrooms, first aid appliances, canteens, lunchrooms, crèches, etc. Certain facilities are to be given based on the number of employees or size of the establishment. If 250 or more workers are working, a canteen facility should be given and crèche for 50 or more women workers are employed. For 500 and more workers, a qualified doctor and a staff and an ambulance is to be provided. There is a statutory provision for a labor officer in an establishment with 500 or more workers. The Act provides only for the minimum requirement of welfare. Progressive employers who are realizing the importance of welfare activities go a step ahead in providing the facilities over and above the mandatory obligations. This helps to promote good industrial relations. Industrial Disputes Act 1947 was enacted to promote industrial peace by providing appropriate machinery for amicable settlement of disputes arising between employers and employees. Objective of this act is the act provides a machinery for the settlement of disputes by arbitration or education. It attempts to ensure social justice and economic progress by fostering industrial harmony. It enables workers to achieve their demands by means of legitimate weapon of strike and thus facilitates collective bargaining. It prohibits illegal strikes and lockouts, and it provides relief to the workmen in the event of layoff or retrenchment. The Act relates to all the relevant aspects of industrial relations machinery, namely collective bargaining, mediation and conciliation, arbitration, adjudication, and matters incidental thereto. Authorities under this Act is Section 3 to 9 of the Industrial Disputes Act deals with the authorities under the Act. First is Work Committee, Conciliation Officer, Work Boards of Conciliation, Courts of Inquiry, Labour Courts, Tribunals and National Tribunals. Then Works Committee. The appropriate government may require the institution in the prescribed manner of a Works Committee in the case of any industrial establishment in which 100 or more workmen are employed. Such working committee consists of representatives of employers and workmen employed in the establishment. The workmen representatives are to be chosen in the prescribed manner from among the workmen engaged in the industry and in the consulting with registered trade unions, if any. The Act provides for conciliation as a method of settlement of disputes. The appropriate government by gazetted notification appoint conciliation officer. The duties of conciliation officers include to mediate in the settlement of industrial disputes and to promote the settlement of the disputes. The conciliation officer has to mediate on a particular case within 14 days and send a report to the government giving details of the steps taken to settle the disputes, listing reasons for success or failure in reaching an agreement. Settlements in the course of conciliation proceedings are binding on all parties to the dispute. Strikes, lockouts are prohibited during the tendency of conciliation proceedings and specified period. Thereafter, the appropriate government may take a reference on the report of the conciliation officer. Board conciliation and courts of inquiry. The board of conciliation is the appropriate government may, as occasion arises by gazetted notification, constitute a board of conciliation for promoting the settlement of industrial disputes. Such board consists of chairman and 2 or 4 other members. The board's main duty is to promote the settlement of industrial disputes. Then courts of inquiry. The appropriate governmental may, as occasion arises by gazetted notification, constitute a court of inquiry for inquiring into industrial dispute. A court of inquiry may consist of one or more independent person or persons. Court of inquiry is expected to inquire into matters referred to it and report there on the appropriate government ordinarily within a period of 6 months from the commencement of the inquiry. Labour Code. The appropriate government may constitute by the notification one or more labour codes consist of one person only appointed by the appropriate government. Person should be or must have been a judge of High Court, or he should have been a district judge for not less than 3 years. Where an industrial dispute have been referred to a labour court for adjudication, it is bound to hold its proceedings expeditiously and thereafter, as soon as possible, it is practicable on the conclusion thereof to submit its award to the appropriate government. Then industrial tribunals and national tribunals. Industrial tribunals is an appropriate government may be by notification of the official gazette constitute one or more industrial tribunals for the adjudication of industrial disputes. The tribunal consists of one person only appointed by the government, and the industrial tribunals have wider jurisdiction than labour courts. The national tribunals are constituted by appropriate government for adjudication of industrial disputes, which is in the opinion of the central government. It involves the questions of national importance or are of such nature that industrial establishments situated in more than one state are likely to be interested in or affected by such dispute. Our national tribunal consists of one person only to be appointed by the central government. Provisions of the Act. The Act also defines the various areas like strikes and lockouts, prohibition of strikes and lockouts in public utility services, layoffs and retrenchments, protection to workmen during tendency of proceedings, and miscellaneous topics such as grievance settlement authority, disclosing confidential information, etc. Then voluntary standards. Management systems for quality and food safety, ISO 9000 quality management system. The ISO 9000 system is looked at as system with minimum quality requirement. It builds a baseline system for managing quality. The focus therefore is on designing a total quality management system that one complies with external standards but includes the specific requirement of the industry and integrates elements of competitiveness. Fourth one is Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 1963. The Export Inspection Council is responsible for the operation of this act. Under this act, a large number of exportable commodities have been notified for compulsorily pre-shipment inspection. Hope you all are satisfied with this session. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. If you have any query, please mention it in a comment box. I will resolve them whenever we have a live session. Thank you so much for watching this video.